Bud Light and Jack Daniels decide to lose a large portion of their customer base. OPEC decides to join up with Russia to screw over the United States. Trump's indictment may or may not be going anywhere. And another teen who's trans decides that they wanted to shoot up a school. That and more on today's After Work podcast. What is up, guys? Good after work. Welcome back to the After Work podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a couple different things, but before we get started, I know I normally say this is what I'm drinking and smoking, but I will not be drinking or smoking anything today. I actually, funnily enough, planned on drinking Jack Daniels, and due to some of their current political leanings, I will not be promoting them at all. So that also includes drinking them for the time being. I also plan on going to a cigar bar tomorrow, so I don't want to, smoke and overload myself on cigars or smoke through all of my cigars before going, or really any of them. So that is why. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get to our first story, which, funnily enough, has to do with an alcohol company. So first story is Bud Light makes a pact with a trans activist, Dylan Mulvaney, and it says it helps authentically connect with audiences. As far as I know, Bud Light is like the biggest beer in America, and I highly doubt that half or more of their audience connect with this mentally challenged person. I say mentally challenged because transgenderism is a mental illness, and I'm sorry, but this dude also thinks that he's a child as well. He thinks he's an adolescent little girl. So I'd say he's pretty far from reality, and they're putting him on their Bud Light cans because that's a great idea. Anyway, so uh, they defended putting Dylan Mulvaney on it uh, after they celebrated 365 days of girlhood, saying the pact helps authentically connect with audiences. The trans activist revealed Saturday that the beer company sent packs of Bud Light featuring the influencer's face as a way to celebrate a full year of girlhood. See, girlhood. This guy thinks he's a child of the opposite sex. I. Why do we live in this world? Please, someone tell me, when did the world go crazy, and why do I have to be in it? What the hell, man? Okay. A video then featured Mulvaney in a bathtub drinking a Bud Light beer as part of the campaign. Oh my god. Yeah, so the announcement was met with significant backlash. Well, yeah, because most of the people who drink Bud Light are just normal people. Normal people who think that this shit is insane and stupid and shouldn't be pushed on them. In fact, most of the people who drink Bud Light, as far as I know, are, like southern country dudes. Like, people who watch football. And the American football, not that crap soccer. Sorry, soccer fans, but it's soccer, not football. Anyway, but it's people like that drink Bud Light, okay? And so them saying that it somehow connects with their audience makes absolutely no sense, right? And Bush works with hundreds of influencers across our brands as one of many ways to authentically connect with audiences across various demographics. From time to time, we produce unique commemorative cans for fans and for brand influencers like Dylan Mulvaney. This commemorative can was a gift to celebrate a personal milestone and is not for sale to the general public. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was or was not uh, available for the general public. What matters is that you took a stance on something that is insane. That's what matters. Okay? I I don't know why or when companies started getting involved in politics and social BS, but they probably shouldn't. Because if you can just stay neutral, you'll probably make more money than picking a side. But that's just my opinion. I long for the days when companies didn't give a damn about who or what was going on in the world, whether it came down to who was the president or what was going on in the Middle East or anything like that. I liked it when the Bud Light commercials were a knight riding in full Bud Light armor, and it's funny, but now it's this. Now it's this insanity. Now, keep in mind, I don't drink Bud Light, so this does not affect me at all, so I could care less. But unfortunately, when brands start doing this, it turns into a tidal wave, avalanche, whatever, thing you want to use to compare it to. Because now, a brand that I do drink, I think it was a few days after Jack Daniels decided that they wanted to do something similar. So Jack Daniels faces a boycott over LGBT campaign, lost a loyal drinker. A lot of people, think this way. So first it was Hershey's with the the Hershey bar. I think we covered that 2 or 3 episodes ago. Then it was Bud Light, and now it's Jack Daniels. And this is the latest brand who's facing a boycott for going woke. So, social media users have taken offense to the whiskey brewer's Small Town Big Pride campaign, in which it teamed up with drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, despite the campaign being nearly 2 years old. Yeah, because here's the thing. Some of these companies do it subtly, right? Jack Daniels did it subtly. And so nobody really noticed, including myself, to be honest, that they were doing it. I think they started it in 2021. And so nobody really kind of, figured it out. Also, we were all locked in our houses, worried about, whether or not we were going to be carted off by the government to like camps and crap, and quarantined or forced to take a shot. So I don't think anybody actually gave a damn about, Jack Daniels and their, small town big pride campaign, because we were all worried about, something else. But with everything else coming out between Hershey's, Bud Light, and even Build-A-Bear is now doing like a trans bear. Like, but with all of that going on, of course this is going to come out and people are going to be like, oh, hey, you.
Whoop, whoop. Here I come.
Now I see what you're doing. So yeah, like, of course, people figured it out now. So Jack Daniels in June 2021 said that it had teamed up with 3 big drag queens from the hit TV show to produce a series of videos called Drag Queen Summer Glamp. Ugh. Ugh. God. Ugh. Oh, that just... I can't believe I just read that. Ugh. Which was released during Pride Month. It features the participants completing challenges around the company's Lynchburg, Tennessee distillery. The whiskey makers said at the time that it was a bold new experience for both the queens and their hosts. Reaffirm... Oh, God. While Lauren Richmond, the brand manager for Jack Daniels, noted, the campaign reaffirms our commitment to the LGBTQ plus community, despite being an unexpected partnership. Well, yeah, it should be unexpected, and you shouldn't do it, because people who like your drink will stop liking your drink. Jack Daniels gets drag culture, which is all about celebrating individuality and inviting others to accept you as you are. One of the drag queens said, "This is how pride should be celebrated. with friends new and old in a place you would never expect. I'm sorry, but no, we shouldn't be celebrating something like this. Okay? First of all, if you're gay, no problem. Nobody cares that you're gay, right? I don't care if somebody's gay. That's whatever. But something that you can't change, right? Whether it be your race or your sexual preference, right? Is not something to be proud of. Pride is for something, it's reserved for something you do, right? That you put work into, that you yourself uh, achieve, essentially. It is not something that's just like, I am, therefore I'm proud. That doesn't make any sense, right? So first of all, that. Second of all, Pride, the LGBTQAAIP plus 10, 11, 12, whatever community, they included pedophiles for a while and groomers and just like anything you can think of is under that little umbrella, including mentally ill people, trannies. So I am sorry, but let's face it, there is nothing to be proud about to be part of this community. Nothing, right? There's nothing to be proud about, right? Because either you are a person who's a terrible person because you're a pedo groomer, or you are just a person, lesbian, gay, who's just that's just your preference. So it just is. It's not something you did, it's not something you achieved. There's nothing to be proud about. So please stop saying this Pride Month crap. Just Pride is it's the dumbest name for this crap. Anyway, so since then, promotional material has been available on the company's website. Despite the campaign being publicized for 22 months, Jack Daniel's support for the LGB3TLMNOP community is receiving fresh scrutiny now over transgender rights and liberties. Well, yeah, because like I said, nobody cared about it then because they had other stuff going on, and now all this stuff is happening all at once. Oh, this is a good business move since Jack Daniels is only ordered by the mentally ill already. Oh, gee, thanks, buddy. You know that's a direct insult towards me because I drank Jack Daniels for a while. Not anymore, but I did. And I love how like during this whole thing, there's an ad in the bottom right corner for Jack Daniels. Like I'm going to actually buy Jack Daniels because of this ad while I'm reading a article about how they basically went mentally insane. Travis Tritt, a country singer-songwriter, tweeted that drinkers of the whiskey should take note along with one of the promotional images of the campaign. Are you freaking kidding me? One user wrote, time to leave their products on the store shelves. Another said, Jack Daniels, you just lost a loyal drinker. Never again. While some users noted that the anti cancel culture crew had ignored the campaign for nearly 2 years, another told the boycotters, you're going to learn that gay and trans people like alcohol too, and they have got a lot more money. I highly doubt that. How many rich trans billionaires do you know? Only a few, and only the ones who go really, really woke, right? Because those are the ones that consolidate all of the people who want to support that into one place. But a lot more celebrities, for example, like Travis Tritt, and a lot more normal people drank this drink. And I'm sorry, but you know, one or two trans activists and like was it like 0.05% of the population or something like that is trans, and you want to say that they are the biggest demographic of drinkers of this. I do not think so. I'm sorry, that math does not math. When asked to comment, a spokesperson for Jack Daniels told Newsweek that the company's products were made with everyone in mind, including the LGBTQ plus LMNOP community. As a longtime champion of the alphabet community, God, Jack Daniels celebrates individuality and living life boldly on your own terms. I'm pretty sure that's not what the original tenants for Jack Daniels, where I'm pretty sure it was started in the 1880s by some guy who learned how to distill it, and I'm pretty sure he'd be rolling over in his grave right now. So that's yeah, that's where Jack. So I would suggest if you drink either of these drinks, to stop buying them. I'm not gonna buy Jack Daniels anymore. Quite honestly, I mean, Jack Daniels wasn't even the top on my list for ones that I like. I prefer like Prohibition 1920 or Bulk Springs or Four Roses or TX, right? And you know, Jack Daniels was kind of on the list, but like now, it's one of those ones that I really don't care. There's hundreds of other whiskeys I can drink, and quite honestly, I didn't drink Bud Light, so I don't care about that either. Now, if Angry Orchard starts going woke, I'm gonna have a little bit of an issue because I love Angry Orchard, but we'll see. Because I think people are just getting tired of this. I think people are just sick and tired of all this BS crap when it comes to this. Uh, when it comes to all this, trans and pride stuff, I'm pretty sure everybody is just done. Okay? And the reason I say that is because it's not just about, trans and this and that. Like, they're trying to, like, cut off your kid's, dick and balls and make them into a girl, right? Without you even knowing. Okay? They're trying to, trans the kids and castrate them. And they're trying to groom your kids, okay? So here we've got another story of something that's honestly disgusting and insane. This show is run by pedophiles, uh, and the people who participate in this show are pedophiles. Okay, so look at this disgusting shit. Okay, let me bring this up for you. Naked Education, right? So this show is literally a show. Supposedly, it's an educational show, but this show is out of just someone's nightmare for their kids. Well, obviously not the parents who let their kids do the show, but like a normal person, right? So this show basically is promoted as being all about body positivity, right? On a mission to normalize all body types, champion our differences, and break down stereotypes. The program shows what different bodies look like to help quell people's insecurities, but some videos took to social media to express their disgust at adults stripped naked in front of children as part of this quest. Yeah, that's right. They get naked in front of kids. Full grown adults, fully buck naked in front of kids because it's educational. I'm sorry, but like in any other context, a dude walking out in front of a bunch of like, 13-year-olds doing the helicopter is going to get you a felony, okay? But because it's on TV and it's educational, it's perfectly fine for him to make his, dick slap against his thighs, okay? So, no thank you. No thank you. That's disgusting, bro. I mean, look how young some of these kids are right here. I just, I, and look at this. It's, I mean, look at these kids, bro. They're like, oh my god, what is going on? Look at it. Look at that. Look, fully buck naked. Now it's mostly women here in this picture, and then there's one dude who just looks entirely too happy, too pleased that he gets to have a giant boner in front of these kids. And these three ladies are just the same. They're pedophiles. Okay? I'm sorry, but you should not be doing this in front of kids. It's disgusting. So, here's some of the tweets. Channel 4's Naked Education is not it. Showing children under 16, minors, people, strangers, I should say, standing fully naked in front of them. Why? Absolutely not. They do not need to see strangers fully naked to be educated on the body. Yeah. So, Channel 4 have a new show, The Naked Education. They literally get naked in front of kids. Why, oh why is this being allowed? Filth. Yeah, I agree. It's disgusting. Like there's no reason, absolutely no reason that this should be allowed. And in any under any other circumstance, it would not be allowed. Like I said, if you just walked up to a kid and was like, "Hey, here's my dong," like you're going to jail. Okay? If anywhere else, well, actually, you know what? Maybe not for women because women routinely, rape school children and get either probation, community service, or very little time at all. And then if a man does the same thing, they throw the book at him. So maybe for the women, it wouldn't be so bad if they just walked up and was like, "Here's my cooch." But as far as it goes for this dude, like, yeah. So th- this 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 disgusts me, and it should disgust you. And this is in the same lane as the drag show crap, and what happened with Bud Light and Jack Daniels. So Jack Daniels, even though they didn't come out and support stuff like this, like overtly, by supporting the trans narrative and the trans community and all that crap, they're by proxy leaning in the same direction as supporting this and drag shows. And actually, Jack Daniels, it was about drag. So, yeah, that's why you shouldn't be getting their products, and you should really stop just letting your children watch whatever they want on TV anymore because stuff like this is on TV. Okay? It's just, ugh, the world. Why? Why? Anyway, this stuff is getting out of hand, and we need to do something about it because this is. And if you thought all of that was bad, we've got other stories about stuff going on. But you know, before we get into the possible another trans shooter, um, well, there's no way around it. Russia and Saudi Arabia decided they want to screw us over. So, you know, if you thought, that it couldn't get any worse or anything like that, well, just wait. Just wait. Uh, you're going to have to pay a whole lot more for gas, okay? So, OPEC OPEC cut shows Saudi's geopolitical ambitions because they're doing the cut with Russia. So, let's see. On April 2nd, the coalition of oil producers known as OPEC announced it would cut oil production by 1.66 million barrels per day. That includes a previously announced cut by Russia of 500,000 barrels per day. So, about, was it 1.11 million barrels? Or 2.11, sorry. So 2.1 million barrels is about to be cut starting next month. So basically, we're gonna get screwed over, and we're gonna end up. It says some of which was likely to drop out of the market anyway because of Western sanctions. Given supply disruptions in Iraq and elsewhere, the actual cut to current global production will be a bit less than 1 million barrels per day. But it's not necessarily about the actual cut that affects the fuel prices. Yes, that does affect the fuel prices, but it's also the speculation. It's the same thing that happened when the pipeline was cut by Biden. Speculation on how much could be produced based on what the demand was going to be affected the gas prices. That's why gas went up to like $6 or $7. Combine that with what happened with Russia, combine that with what was happening in the Middle East with us pulling out, combine that with the pipeline, yeah, the prices went up. So it's not just about the actual price or the actual demand. Sometimes it's also the speculation. So them announcing this right after the announcement of Russia's cut is, I mean, you could already see it. It happened within days. The gas station over by my house was like 270. Now it's 340, and it's been like less than a week since this announcement. So yeah, and I expect that next month it'll be higher than that. It'll probably closer to around $4 a gallon. But, no big deal, right? Like, It's fine because that's the only thing that's going up in prices, right? Right? Oh, right. No, it's not. If you've gone to the grocery store recently, you've realized that what you could normally get for like three, you know, you know, $30 is now like $300. Like eggs are like it used to be like 250 for like a dozen, and now they're like $7. Milk used to be like 250, 260 a gallon, and now it's like $5, right? And all the other groceries have gone up like 10 or 15% without you noticing. Or your boxes of cereal, the boxes are the same size, but the little bag on the inside is smaller, right? So you got like 10 ounces less of whatever it is, whatever cereal you got, but they're charging the same price. Yeah. So it's not just this. Like, America is fighting massive inflation right now. So everything compounds, right? So the chances are that when the gas prices go up, everything else goes up. Because how do we transport things? With gas. With gas. Like a majority of our transport system is truckers, right? Using diesel. So when gas goes up, all the prices of everything else goes up. So get ready for 12 for paying $1 an egg, $12 for one, 12 pack of eggs, and like $10 for a gallon of milk. Get ready for that because that's what's gonna happen. This is ridiculous, bro. OPEC's leaders cited an uncertain demand outlook as the rationale for their decision. A Saudi energy ministry official said the cut was a precautionary measure aimed at supporting the stability of the oil market. Bull shit. Okay, Saudi Arabia just agreed with, I believe it was Russia and China, to start selling the oil not in US dollars, but in the Chinese currency. I think it's the how do you pronounce it? I think it's the yen or yuan or something like that. But they just made that agreement. So yeah, like they have decided that they're going to partner up. And you mean to tell me that a couple days after that is when they decide to cut oil, which would only hurt the US dollar? Yeah, okay. I totally believe you that it's to stabilize the oil market. Yeah. No, it's to screw us over, and it's definitely to enrich their new allies. Okay. Now, hard segue into another thing. I did say that we were going to get back to the whole trans thing, didn't I? Well, Colorado Springs just had a possible attempted mass shooting. Now, they thankfully caught them beforehand, but guess what? Of course, it's another tranny. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that an offensive term? Trans person. Trans identifying person. Right. So, a teenager is suspected of planning to shoot up multiple schools in Colorado Springs. According to a news release issued by the district attorney's office on Thursday, a teen named William Whitworth, who identified as Lily, was charged with 2 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder in the first degree, criminal mischief, menacing, and interference with staff, faculty, or students of educational institutions. Once entering the home, there was trash piled up all around the house to where it made it hard to walk inside. There were numerous containers filled with half-eaten food with mold growing inside, numerous alcoholic beverages, and containers laying around the house. When they arrested him, the suspect said, "I'm a little drunk, by the way." While waiting for the fire department to show up, Lily was asked how much she had been planning the school shooting, and Lily stated he's about a third of the way from doing it. Lily verified that. Why am I saying Lily? William. This dude's name is William. William verified that Timberview Middle School. Holy shit. Okay, I didn't read this until now, but I went to Timberview. Timberview Middle School is one of the main targets currently, and other targets were churches. Uh, William was asked what kind of planning he had done, and he stated, and he stated the layout of the school, active firearm planning, and starting a manifesto. Wow. Okay, that's insane. I didn't read this beforehand. I just saw the synopsis of it. I had no idea that he was planning on shooting up Timberview Middle School. That is where I went to. That's where I went to middle school. That's where one of my favorite band teachers, Mister Singmaster. I don't know if he still teaches there, but he was my band director, and he was like the coolest guy. So I am glad that they caught this guy, right? Because like not just because like it's like a place I went to middle school. Like I would be glad no matter what, but like you never know when something like this like hits close to home. You know what I mean? Like to think that somebody that I know could have been there, or their kids even, right? But again, this ties into the whole trans thing, like how we talked about last week with the Nashville shooting, and how there's been four or five other people that did this. Now the news likes to cast all of these shooters as like possibly like uh, white nationalists and like stuff, but a lot of these shooters are either socialist or like left leaning, and then these ones are overtly left leaning because they're trans and they're mentally ill. But of course, stuff like this always results in the calls for gun control. But the funny part is that gun control won't do anything, right? And for instance, let's go to this next story, right? Brazil preschool attack. People are always like, "Oh, well, you can't kill a bunch of people very fast without a gun." And to that I say, yes, you can. Okay, bombs, knives, whatever. In this case, Brazil preschool, four children were killed in an axe attack at a daycare in southern Brazil. Now, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the level of gun control is in Brazil, but I do know that it's a little more strict than here in the United States. Um, but this dude used a freaking axe to kill a bunch of kids, right? So four children have been killed and four more injured in an axe attack. So he used an assault axe, because that's what it was, right? Anything that you use to assault someone with, it's an assault axe. So this demonstrates those killed, three boys and a girl, were between the ages of 5 and 7. So this demonstrates that it doesn't just happen in the United States. Okay, this type of stuff happens in other countries, in Brazil. Okay, even with no gun being present, people will still do terrible things, and they will still kill people. I mean, this guy might have, driven a car through the wall if he didn't have an axe. He might have built a bomb or some type of biological thing. Or hell, he might have just walked in there with a rock and started swinging. Okay? Like, I'm not trying to make light of this, but what I'm trying to say is that we need to focus on mental health. Because in the case of this story here with the Colorado Springs attempted shooting and planning, this is a mental health issue, right? No mentally sane person thinks that they're a woman and also has trash and half-eaten food and alcohol just all over the place in their house. Like, you've got an alcoholic who can't be bothered to clean up after themselves or take care of themselves, who thinks that they're the opposite gender. That's I don't like if anyone belonged in a mental asylum, I would say it would be that. You know? And it seems I'd be correct because they were planning on shooting up a school. So, yeah. And that's not to say that like all trans people should be put in jail or should be, like put into a mental institution, because there are people with mental illnesses that can function in society. But I'm saying that on a case by case basis, some of them end up like this. And all of them in general I think are mentally ill, but there are different levels of mental illness. Now, our last story. Of course, I had to save the best for last, right? Of course I had to save, the Trump indictment I had to save that for last. So even Vox here is saying that we probably don't have much of a case. So now this says there's a very real risk that this indictment will end in a bigger anticlimax. It is unclear that the felony statute that Trump is accused of violating actually applies to him. The indictment charges Trump with 34 separate counts of falsifying business records in the first degree of felony. And that's because they're counting like every payment, every receipt, every whatever. Really, it should be just one count, but it's like Bragg just decided to take a cookie and break it into a bunch of pieces, and then he's like, "Here's 34 cookies." It's like, no, motherfucker, that is one cookie. Okay, that's one cookie. Do you just broke up one cookie into 34 pieces? Now you're calling it 34 cookies? No. So a separate document laying out the factual basis for Bragg's allegations against Trump points to a complicated web of arrangements between Trump, his former lawyer, and David Pecker. So Michael Cohen is, I think, their star witness, basically, and he's a convicted liar. He literally went to jail for perjury, among other things, and people are going to believe his testimony. Testimony. Why? Again, same thing. We talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago on like the third episode of the After Work podcast, where we talked about Michael Cohen and how you can't trust what he says because he's a convicted liar, and he only flipped on Trump when there was a deal to keep him out of prison or to lower his prison sentence. Okay, before that, he basically was like, "Yeah, Trump didn't know anything about it." Oh, so now of course it comes out and you're lying. So you can't. No. Right. Yeah. So Coden pleaded guilty to a federal campaign finance crime arising out of a scheme. He paid 130 to Daniels shortly after the 20 or shortly before the 2016 election, and Trump paid Cohen a total of 420,000 over the course of 2017. But here's the thing: he paid it in installments, right? He paid it in installments to his lawyer. Again, like we said before, it's like you hired a lawyer and said, "Hey, here's all the problems that I have. Can you fix them?" Expecting your lawyer, who is a legal expert, to do it legally, and then if he does it illegally, like what? Like how are you supposed to know that he's going to do it illegally, right? Trump runs like multi-billion-dollar businesses. You think that he pays attention to every invoice and or like everything that his lawyers do? No, of course not. He doesn't do that. There's no way. The actual felony counts arise out of allegedly false entries that Trump made in various business records in order to make the payment to Daniels appear to be ordinary legal expenses paid to Cohen. But Bragg built his case on an exceedingly uncertain legal theory. Even if Trump did the things he's accused of, it's not clear Bragg can legally charge Trump for them, at least under the felony version of New York's false records laws. So, first of all, it's past the statute of limitations for like any of this. The only reason that they're able to even possibly bring some stuff is because he's trying to tie it to some other crime to make it a felony. But here's the other thing: Trump, in the if I remember correctly, in the actual indictment that they put out, none of the counts were actually against Trump himself. Like it was all against Trump's business. But for some reason they're going after like this whole thing makes no sense. So the felony statute requires Bragg to prove that Trump falsified records to cover up a crime. Bragg has evidence that Trump acted to cover up a federal crime, but it is not clear that Bragg is allowed to point to a federal crime in order to charge Trump under the New York state law. He doesn't have any proof of that. All he has is that the lawyer did something that he wasn't supposed to, and Trump paid for legal fees. Like that's all he has. So this whole thing, in my opinion, again, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. Okay, I don't really like him that much. In the next election, if it's between Trump and DeSantis, I'm voting DeSantis. Like it it is 100% political. Before Bragg, there were people who thought about charging and didn't, prosecuting and didn't, and all of a sudden he gets in and he goes after him. He ran on going after Trump. So, of course, he's going to do it, whether or not he can make it stick or not. So, this whole thing is political. It's unprecedented because no president has ever been gone after like this. I'm pretty sure that it's just to keep him from running in 2024. Not that I think it would, because I'm pretty sure you're allowed to run even if you're in jail, but that's besides the point. This whole thing is just to try and smear Trump. But dude, he's unsmearable. He's a playboy billionaire who's done a dozen different things that everybody knows about because he brags about it. He doesn't hide anything. Like, he literally says whatever it is that he does, and people are like, whoa. Like during the debates where he was talking about like reforming tax law, and he basically told the Democrats, like, you guys you guys realize that I know that the tax law benefits the rich because I benefit from it, right? Like, I take advantage of that. Like, he literally just says whatever is to be said. So the fact that they're going after him for this basically nothing burger, there's nothing there, right? It's just a bun. There's no patty or anything in between, right? Like, it's 100% political. It was only done to try and stop him from running, try to stop him from being president, or at the very least turn voters against him. But I think it's done the opposite because Trump's up in the polls quite a bit. But you know what? We'll see where this whole thing leads because the trial or the hearings aren't over. I'm sure come next week there's going to be a lot more news aside from what we've already seen, and just the the what's been done. Trump pleaded not guilty, obviously. Um, so we'll see where it goes. We'll see if it gets dropped or if it actually ends up going to trial. Anyway, guys, with that being said, thank you guys for watching the After Work podcast. I know today was not as long as the other ones, but if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like down below. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if you're on YouTube, please support me by going over to Rumble and following me there. If you are on Rumble, thank you very much. Don't I mean, you can go to YouTube and support me over there if you want, but like, I'm gonna make more money on Rumble doing this than YouTube, simply because YouTube has a ton of requirements for me to even monetize my videos, even though they can run ads on them without me getting that money, whereas Rumble monetizes it like right away. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys, and everybody have a good after work. Bye.